Welcome on in, Mets family, to this edition of Mets Digest with your host, of course, Michael DeAngelo, as you see on the screen. Long time no see, everyone. I missed you guys so much, and I apologize for my long time absence, but I have a good excuse, okay? I was out in Anaheim in Orange County to see the Mets take on the Angels. My parents live out there, and I grew up at that stadium, so I was able to go and watch the Angels play the Mets in one of my favorite venues, and got to meet all the guys, Mark Vientos, Sean Manaea, Starling Marte, who we will be talking about in this video, Sean Manaea too as well. But nevertheless, will the Mets make more cuts to their roster, especially in the bullpen? Adam Ottavino could be one to expend, and he's not too happy about it. We will get into reports about that, as well as can Sean Manaea be a qualifying offer type of player this offseason? We will explain what's going on with his situation and a ton of more Mets reinforcements on their way back in rehab assignments. We will give you guys the updates about all of the Mets coming back from injuries. But before I get started, I never got the chance to say thank you guys so much for over 1,000 subscribers here on Mets Digest. We're around 1.2K now or something like that. This is my first time ever doing YouTube, posting somewhere consistently, working with the YouTube channel. And I just want to say thank you guys. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, really. It is so awesome that people will literally just click on this video just to sit here and listen to me talk about Mets baseball. I can't appreciate you guys enough. Thank you guys so much for 1,000 subscribers. But we gotta keep the train going, okay? So look, we are in the midst of a big wild card battle right now, and the magic is still happening, and Grimace is still telling you to subscribe, okay? So look, my next goal, I want to make it to 1,500 subscribers, hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you guys hop on the train now while you can, because we are the fastest growing Mets channel on this app. No doubt about it. And I want to keep that going. So make sure you guys hit subscribe to keep up to date with all the things latest Mets roster news, injuries, trade updates, even though trade deadline's passed now. And all things Mets baseball right here, your one-stop shop. So hit the subscribe button and we got you guys. But we will get started here as we have had reports come up from Mike Puma of the New York Post. With Adam Ottavino continuing to struggle, this could be a situation where we could be looking at David Stearns making another cut to the bullpen, as we will take a look at the quote that Mike Puma reported with the New York Post. He talked to Adam Ottavino and he said, "I think it would be foolish for them to let me go. It occurred to me that it could happen, but you can't control it. As far as I'm concerned, I'm still throwing the ball the way I want to for the most part, so I just have to try and live with the results." That was Adam Ottavino saying that. And, look, this is a guy that is at the super back end of his career. He's 38 years old. We'll take a look at his stats now, actually. He's appeared in 44 games so far this season. His workload has been up there with Diaz facing injuries and suspension so far this season. And obviously other guys going down, Daniel Nunez, Reed Garrett, and Sean Reed Foley. This is someone that we've had to rely on heavily in the bullpen. And, he's 38 years old. That's a lot for a guy, his age. And, you see with the ERA, 4.35. We saw David Stearns make the cut to Jake Diekman, DFA'ing, then releasing him when his ERA went above 5. So, Adam Ottavino's ERA obviously hasn't reached that just yet. But when you look at the resume of a guy like Adam Ottavino, you kind of got to cut him a little more slack. This is a multi-time All-Star, has pitched with a ton of deep running playoff teams, Yankees, Red Sox, much more. So this is a guy that you really kind of gotta, really think about before you dump him. They just re-signed him to a 2-year contract last off season, and this was one of your most reliable guys from last year's bullpen. So with the bullpen struggling now, especially with injuries and finding guys that can give you innings, it's kind of a hard situation to look at. But at the same time, with guys coming back like DeAngelo Nunez, Sean Reed Foley, and Reed Garrett, those are 3 right-handers that are going to be coming off the IL that you have to make roster space for. You got the lefties now, Danny Young and Alex Young coming up from AAA. Unfortunately, that's all you really got right now. So if I were really to dump Adam Ottavino, look, you're not going to be eating up too much money for a guy like this with his contract. But if I'm going to be really just dumping him for nothing, I would really hope that David Stearns would have some type of replacement, especially from the southpaw side, because that is our biggest need in the bullpen right now. And yeah, so, watching this guy bridge for Edwin Diaz has been a very up and down sort of, emotional roller coaster. And, he's had, his as many good seasons and bad seasons with the Mets so far during his stint with them. But with the experience that this guy has and the amount of playoff games that he's been in, and amount of, high pressure situations he's been in, it would be hard to let go of him for nothing, especially with how much this bullpen is struggling with right now. Obviously, you're going to have options coming off of the IL. Like I said, Daniel Nunez, who hasn't picked up a loss yet, and obviously that 2.43 ERA jumps off the page to you. He's only given up 3 home runs. He has been a godsend for this bullpen this year. At 28 years old, guy has had tons of experience, tons of time to develop in the minor leagues, and he's come up and his fastball has a ton of life to it, and this is a guy that the Mets need back drastically. Between him and Reed Garrett, hopefully we will see them back out on the field soon. A lot of guys going out for rehab assignments right now as well. So with with those guys on their way back, that has to clear up roster. You have to clear up roster spots some way. We saw David Stearns add to the bullpen at the trade deadline with Huascar Brazaban and Ryan Stanek. Those are 2 more right-handers that are added into that bullpen that obviously you cannot cut right now. So this is why the concerns of Adam Ottavino being DFA'd have come about. And we will see what happens now in the next coming weeks when these younger pitchers are coming off the IL. But we will move on here with more Mets making their return, like I said before, with Dednell Nunez and with Starling Marte as well, who has recently appeared in his first game with the Single A Port St. Lucie Mets, and I think he stole a base, something like that as well. Oh, excuse me. I don't know why I did that. I'm a little rusty, guys. I'm sorry. It's also 1:30 in the morning right now, and I just landed back in New York City. But Starling Marte making his rehab with Port St. Lucie. His next step will be to be going to AAA in Syracuse after that. We need him back drastically. Tyrone Taylor has done a great job filling in. We saw him come up with a big hit in the first game of the Colorado Rockies series with a bases clearing double. He has given it his all for this team. But for the most part, when I was out there in Anaheim watching them, to see what it looks like when the bats don't have it that night, it would be nice to have a guy like him who has tons of at-bats in his career, multi-time All-Star, Gold Glover. It'd be nice to have him down in that 5, 6, 7, 8 hole, ready to back the other guys up for when they're not having a good night. It's it's tough because, we love everything Tyrone Taylor has done so far this year. He won't be getting cut, but it would be great just to see him, just come off the bench now. Especially since, we're not going to be able to see Marte out there every day. His career is riddled with injuries now between his knees, his shoulders, and his groins now. We can't put him out there in the field every day, so that's why Tyrone Taylor is still going to be a huge part of this team. Obviously, Harrison Bader as well. You gotta manage his innings with how hard he plays out there in center field. Just getting more outfield depth back in the lineup, especially with a guy like Marte, who is, kind of considered glue for this Mets lineup, especially back in 2022 when we made the playoffs. It'd be great to see him come back very soon, especially now with August coming around. Now we're at August 9th, and we're at the last 2 months of the season, and we're still deadlocked in this wild card race, and we need as much help as we can get. So Starling Marte, please come back soon. We need you, buddy. It was nice meeting you out in Anaheim, getting to talk to you about your rehab and stuff. But yeah, we will see we will have you more updates on all the Mets rehab assignments. If you guys live in the rural New York areas, you guys can see a lot of the Major League Mets making rehab assignments. Reed Garrett, Sean Reed Foley, Dedanel Nunez, Starling Marte. Tons of guys out there making their rehab assignments. You guys can go see them, watch them, make their rehab starts. But we will move on here to another topic. Like I said before, Sean Manaea, who has been fantastic so far this season, and we just saw him pretty much make his best start as a Met so far. He went 7 innings, had around 15 strikeouts, and it has brought up the question now of what to do with him this offseason. He can let's break it down like this. He has a player option after this year for an opt-in of around $13 million, which he will decline. The starting pitcher market is going to face huge inflation this offseason, and Sean Manaea definitely knows at age 32 that he could definitely receive more money this offseason, as we will take a look at his stats right now, actually. But Sean Manaea, sorry about shuffling around. He's gotten his ERA back down into the 3s. It was at 4s. It was up in the 4s at the beginning of the season, but he has turned it up since. Like I said before, 32 years of age. He's going to be fighting for a lot of 1-year, 2-year deals now at this part in his career. But he has been a wonderful depth signing for this rotation, and now brings up questions with what do you do with him this offseason? He is eligible for a qualifying offer this offseason. That would be a $20 million 1-year contract. If he was to decline that, that would ultimately play in the Mets' favor, because then they could sign him for more money without, with having bird rights on him. And that would also limit teams to signing him for more money as well, because of the restricted, contract rights and all of that. I don't want to get into all that for you guys, but with that, you really got to look at your whole pitching staff as a whole, from the majors and the minors as well. Jose Quintana is can still remain with the team after this season. We just saw the Mets trade for Paul Blackburn, who is under team control for next year as well. Luis Severino expiring deal, so he's a free agent too. So you got a lot of pieces to play with here, and if you're going to be looking to make a big splash in free agency elsewhere, whether that be in the bullpen or with the bats, this may be a guy that you might not want to throw too much money on, especially since he could easily be replaceable, and with him fighting for money like this, you really don't know what type of season he could put up after the year he gets paid. We see right now with Adam Ottavino, after he got his 2-year deal with the Mets, we've seen him kind of take a step down, and that could easily happen with Sean Manaea as well. So the Mets are really going to have to, really take a second and think about what they want to do here. We just saw brand new prospect rankings come out with everyone's pipeline. Right now, we have a number 18 and 20 prospect in AAA, Dominic Hamill being one of them. So those are guys that you have to look at that could be ready to come up and replace guys like Sean Manaea. Big trend nowadays is, being as youthful as possible. We've seen it work with the Cincinnati Reds, the Pittsburgh Pirates. A lot of these teams are going super young, and it's working in their favor. We haven't seen the Mets really do that this season, signing a lot of vets that they thought would flip at the deadline, but now are a big part of this wild card race in the National League. So between bunch of guys in the minor leagues, ready to come up probably next year after this season, putting up big numbers in AAA Syracuse. It's something to look at that, they won't probably be too rushed about it. And I don't think the Mets are probably too worried about it right now. They're just loving watching what Sean Manaea is doing for us right now, because no one expected this, especially coming after the struggling seasons that he had with the Padres and the San Francisco Giants. This was looking like a guy that was just going to come in and, be between the starting rotation and the bullpen. Remember, he was in the bullpen for parts of the season with the Giants and the Padres, and we thought that that would be the same case with us, but has found his stride in the rotation and now is just a permanent spot and has just provided us with some big innings at some very effective pitching so far this season for the Mets. So Sean, loved meeting you out in Anaheim as well. Keep doing your thing. Super nice guy. If you guys ever get to meet Sean Manaea, he's super cool. Love watching him in a Mets uniform, and I can't wait to see what he does in the months of August and September, and hopefully October, as the Mets are still locked in the wild card race with the Padres, the Diamondbacks, and the St. Louis Cardinals. So we will see. These games are still very important for the Mets so far. Dropping that series to the Angels was not good at all. You gotta win your games. You gotta win games when you have gimme teams like that are just have sold off the season. Colorado Rockies, they've taken 2 out of the 3 so far, so that's a series win. But you gotta get, with teams like that are that mediocre, you gotta get your sweeps in. And that is just something that has not happened so far. And to keep up in this race, it's gonna have to happen sooner or later. So we will see what will be going on with the Mets for this week during this grueling road trip that they have. The last game against Colorado comes, or technically today, and after that they will travel to Seattle to face the Mariners, which will be a tough series as the Mariners have been great and are in the playoff hunt as well in the American League. But that is all for me here at Mets Digest. Michael DeAngelo, of course, as your host. And I will see you guys in the next video, hopefully. I'm back now. I'm going to start pumping videos out as well as Flobo Boys, who has done a terrific job. And we are in full swing mode as we are looking to keep being the fastest growing Mets channel on this app. So make sure you guys subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye for now, guys.